What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with their earnings affecting the markets, what news just came out that's affecting Tesla, and what the data is suggesting so far that caused a move in the markets. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I talk about what's going on with Tesla during this pre-market update video, what you should be watching for, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. As a reminder, guys, I'm recording this video at about just before 6 a.m., at least in my time. So this is actually like 30 minutes before market open. I am recording this once again very early, so I might not be speaking the loudest. I'm very sorry about that. I don't want to wake up my neighbors or the people around me, but I'm sure that we can still make this work. Looking at Tesla's things looking relatively weak in the pre-market, it's down 1.38% thus far. And SPY, it made an attempt to bounce and it ended up failing so far. It's actually coming back down to be flat. So the market's looking a little weaker this morning. This is once again aligning with what I was saying yesterday about some sell signals that have started to flash. So what's going on with the markets? Just as a reminder, the market was down during the pre-market. We were down and down and down, and then we popped just for about was this like almost 30 minutes. We popped before coming back down. And this happened because initial jobless claims came out this morning hotter than expected, which is technically good for the markets and good for the Fed's policies because the unemployment numbers are getting stronger, showing some weakness and a softening in the labor market, which is de-incentivizing the Fed to give us another rate hike. That's what the market was liking. This data was hot, which is good for the markets for now, good for the bulls. But even that data was not enough to really get this to push and hold. It popped a bit and it's coming back down. So we're going to be watching this very carefully. Later on during the day, we have some housing numbers coming out at 10 a.m. Then we have a couple of Fed speakers like Barr from the Fed speaking at 10:30 a.m. Then we have the 4-week and the 8-week bill auctions at 11:30 a.m., which could cause some volatility. Besides that, it's just Fed speakers all day, and there's not anything else that's too significant in terms of data. The bond auctions could cause some price action at 11:30 a.m. However, so watch that carefully. That's just for today. For tomorrow, we have a lot of options expirations. We have almost 3 million puts expiring on SPY. We'll see what this causes. When it comes to earnings, Walmart did relatively well in terms of beating earnings. Their EPS and revenue were both beats. They did show that consumers are spending more at the stores, but there is going to be an issue with Walmart, and that is their guidance was not very strong. And this is why Walmart started to sink as time went on. For a couple of things to know about the market before we open, inflation has been easing according to data. Wholesale prices have once again dropped, and then CPI was decent. Once again, when it comes to Walmart, decent earnings, but their overall guidance was a little weak, which is hurting the share price for the time being, at least as of right now. Microsoft is coming for Nvidia. Basically, they're introducing their first chip made by AI, made for AI, and this is going to be another competitor with that of Nvidia's AI GPUs. So it's going to be very interesting. Starbucks workers are walking out in the largest strike the union has ever staged. This is going to be very important, and this is having amidst the very busy Red Cup promotion day. And that happens to be, once again, going on with the Red Bull winning its track on the shelves. When it comes to their Formula One races this year, they came out on top at 19 out of 20 Grand Prix so far. Now, for Tesla, I want to talk about some news. When it comes to Tesla, Sweden's Tesla is blockading. The blockade is basically spreading. We can see right here, it started off with dock workers on the Swedish ports refusing to offload Teslas. And now we're seeing the cleaning crews refusing to clean the showrooms. Electricians are once again starting to join in and they won't fix the company's charging points. And this is becoming more serious by the days. So in Sweden, we're going to be watching to see how Tesla responds to this. If a collective agreement could be made, they're demanding better benefits, higher pay, and things like that. So we'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case and how Tesla responds to this. But thus far, this is expanding, it's getting more serious, and that could be one of the reasons why Tesla's cooling off. There could be other reasons too. Also, the overall market is affecting Tesla. What do I see for the market? What do I see for the charts? In my video from yesterday, I was talking about SPY. We hit the daily Bollinger Band. We basically rejected off of that. We have a head and shoulders on Tesla, also on SPY, that is developed. Let me just show you that again before I talk about Tesla. So right here on the hourly, we have this head and shoulders like pattern. And then you can't forget about the other bearish divergence that is developed and the weakness we're starting to see on SPY. So let's talk about Tesla first before we break down SPY. On Tesla, we have this head and shoulders like pattern. It's still looking relatively weak. The 1 hour is looking weak. And on the 4-hour time frame, Tesla's continuing to sink a bit. So here's some levels to watch for. On Tesla, we're currently at 239. If we manage to break out, you're going to be looking for a little pop to 242, then a rejection, or even a rejection from here. It really depends on how this ends up panning out. Now we have this resistance to be watching for near 242 and also 240. We'll see if we can try to get above this for one last pop and then a drop, or it could just be very weak and just fail to get much of a pop. Now, if we lose 238, expect this thing to start sinking lower towards 235. I anticipate some more downside could be possible. We'll be watching to see if we try to fill this gap, we pop first and then drop, or if we just continue dropping. If we get above 242, watch 245 and 247. A break of 247 would be very bullish, and we could get very close to 250. Right now, the most likely possibility would be Tesla attempts to rebound and ends up failing. We just continue to chop and sink a bit. So just be very careful. Watch this head and shoulders and watch resistance very, very carefully. Looking at SPY, I just wanted to call out that SPY also has this head and shoulders like pattern. We had a bearish divergence. And on top of all of that, on the 4-hour time frame, SPY is turning a bit more bearish. We're about to get a bearish cross in the PPO, and we're losing some momentum. The daily close is potentially signaling a reversal could be coming if you look at the way we closed yesterday. And that could be part of why the market is starting to turn weak. We look very choppy thus far, but there is going to be a risk to the downside after everything I mentioned yesterday. So just as a reminder, if SPY breaks 452, I'm going to turn bullish. We could invalidate these signals if we break and hold 452. If we fail to do so, if we don't break 452 and we just start sinking, watch 448.8. If we lose this, watch 448. If we lose those levels, watch 447.5, 446.5, then we're going to start sinking lower. If we lose 448 flats, we turn bearish. If we break 452, we turn bullish. Right now, we reject off the daily Bollinger Band, which I showed you yesterday. We have a head and shoulders, a bearish divergence, and everything developing. The odds favor this is going to start dropping lower and eventually try to test 448, maybe break below that. The odds do favor the bears, at least as of right now. On the QQQ, we have a head and shoulders like pattern that is developed. If we're bullish, you want to see it get above 388. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 383 basically, and 382.8. If we lose the 382s, it's going to come down towards the 380 support. With this head and shoulders like pattern, looks a bit more bearish. We're about to turn bearish on our PPO, and Nvidia is helping to lead the way because Nvidia is already sinking. Not to mention Apple, it pumped a bit and now it's starting to reject. So, the technicals and the other stocks out there are likely going to affect this and cause us to start sinking towards the lower 380s. Watch the 4-hour 20 EMA also at 382. That's going to be a very key support. If we lose this, we turn more bearish. And I think we might test that very soon. So if we break 388, I'm bullish. If we break down and lose any of these supports, I turn more bearish. I think the odds favor the downside looking at the current technicals this morning. On Nvidia stock, if you look at Nvidia, this is looking kind of weak right now. We're barely at 485, but the 4-hour is turning more bearish. On the daily time frame, Nvidia is also looking a little weaker. If you look at the daily, we had a weak close yesterday. It looks like this thing might start turning. So on Nvidia, we could be forming a larger head and shoulders. If we lose 482, we're going to test 480, then lower levels. If we're bullish, you want to see it break, 490 and start, continuing to break out. Right now, we have a head and shoulders like pattern. Could pop a little bit, try to backtest 490, then reject and start sinking. But overall, the trend has been to the downside. So I anticipate that Nvidia might pop and drop. If we're bullish, you want to see it try to get above 495. We're quite far from that. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 480. My gut tells me it's going to pop and maybe start sinking again. We're going to be watching 482. If we lose this 480 is next. And if we lose 480, watch 480 to 479, the entire range. If we lose that, then 475 is next. Pop and drop is very probable. We might see some downside. The risk is still there. Nvidia is looking weaker than before. On Aapl, now this could be a head and shoulders, a very strange looking head and shoulders up here. That's forming we have like a head here, a left shoulder, maybe a right shoulder. If we do reject off this resistance, if you want to be bullish on Aapl, you want to see it break 190 and start pushing above that. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 187.5. If we lose that, if we break below the support here, we're going to start sinking. We're starting off at resistance. We're going to likely open near resistance. If we reject here, Apple could start sinking. In my opinion, it's going to likely chop for an extended period of time and maybe eventually break down. This could be like a triple top like formation that's forming. And we have this gap down here at 187.25. Might be a rejection coming to Apple, and the odds do favor a move to the downside, in my opinion. So we're going to be watching SPY. We're going to be watching these levels. As for Tesla, like I said before, this could be a topping candlestick. We'll be watching to see if this forms. And just know Tesla's looking relatively weak this morning amidst some news involving Sweden. There could be other pieces of news I'm missing, but for now, this is all I saw. There could be something else that comes out. But for now, we're going to be watching what happens with the Swedish labor market. What's going to happen with these new blockades, which are perpetuating and growing, and how all of this affects Tesla. All right. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again and peace out.